We can both stand. I'm chill. All right. Welcome back to the 2018 World Junior Ultimate Championships. We are live here in Waterloo on the showcase field, brought to you by Cut Camps. I'm Naomi Redmond. Joined with me up in the booth is Isaiah Massakelly, and we are here looking at the men's quarterfinal. We have Belgium in maroon and New Zealand in white. So Belgium starting out on 0. High release upside down throw. Belgium set up in a vertical stack here. Feller going every other. That's Yonkers with the disc. Another upside down, and unfortunate miscommunication by the Belgium offense there. A little bit of a collision. And here we have on New Zealand, we're going to have Nicholas Whitlock pick up the disc. So critical, goes up with a big looping flick out into space. No problem for New Zealand. They are on the board.
Yeah, just a gorgeous upwind pass there by Whitlock. He happens to be leading the division in stats, so obviously he's going to be huge for New Zealand today. Just case in point of his skills there. The wind did not even affect him.
Yeah, we've gotten a few looks at Mr. Whitlock now, and he seems to play in every position of the field. He is so critical to this New Zealand offense, and really an important, such an impressive handful of skills that he has. Sorry, I'm losing my words. Really impressive from the New Zealand defensive line there, able to convert off the first point.
Yeah, first look up Belgium on 0. They have two kind of pickups this year. Ben Oort, who I happened to play with for a little while this year, and number 99. Oh, man. Ologviskis. I'm going to butcher that name all day. But both of them should be very vital for the Belgians.
Yeah, a little bit of controversy with those pickups. They were both kind of late pickups for this Belgium team, but Belgium otherwise unable to have enough players to field the team, sort of petitioned WFDF to see if they could pick them up, and it's been interesting to see Belgium doing so well at this tournament here, and with Orlovsky's really a critical part of the handler offense as well. We haven't seen too much of Ben Oort yet, but he looks like he's cleated up and ready to play in this game. So we're excited to see what our sort of Toronto friend can bring. Sort of Toronto. Inside flick. Belgium, a little disorganized. Their vertical stack, a lot of people all cutting at once. And that's going to result in a turnover. Just a little bit too much going on upfield. New Zealand on the sideline at the half mark. Scott with the disc, looking to the end zone, and that's going to be stopped by Arthur Feller, number 58 on Belgium.
Yeah, the Belgium stack is just looking a little stagnant, looking into the lanes a little too long. They need to swing the disc a bit more.
That's a nice read and a throw out to the break side, and that's a nice grab from Sofiane Bontemps.
Yeah, that was a good read of the disc, coming in really hot. It's a hard throw into the wind as it's getting gusty again. More of a crosswind from this morning, so it's less of an upwind, downwind kind of game, but it's definitely windy. It's going to affect a lot of throws.
Absolutely. Those cross-field throws, especially going to the break side, in that case, the high side on this field, it's going straight upwind. We're really feeling it up in the booth. The scaffolding is feeling a little rickety right now, but we're excited to be elevated so that we can see this game properly.
First look at New Zealand on O. And yeah, Oort's playing. He's pulling the disc right now. So I guess he's all better from that injury, or just enough to try to help his team win.
It's a nice looking pull. All the way to the far front cone of the end zone. Belgium putting on a little bit of a zone here. We've seen a lot of this 3-person cup this week. And unfortunate, that throw just bounces a little bit in the wind, and Belgium's going to have a shot just outside their end zone.
Yeah, it's a good use of a trap zone right on the sideline in the gustiest part of the field.
And again, exact same spot, exact same throw. Those throws, not enough rotation on them to make them go right into the hands of the receiver. So Belgium putting on the same zone again. We have 13. Elliott picking up. Calling a double team, looks like. New Zealand able to break out of it a little bit off the sideline.
Yeah, this is where they can't get caught holding the disc. They need faster give-goes on this close sideline. We're also going to get in trouble every time.
And again, that pass meant to sit up into space, but the wind just pushes it right to the ground. So Belgium with another chance here, round about the brick line. Nice grab. Around throw, out to Benjamin Oort. And rifled into the end zone. Bit of a collision, but looks like number 10 on Belgium, Demare, is going to stick the landing and keep his toe in.
Yeah, that was good movement from the Belgians this time. Kept it moving quick, didn't hold the disc too long, and it opened up a deep shot.
And right away, we're seeing that connection between Benjamin Oort and Arvid Zervalowski's really nice break shots around, lots of really quick movement, and Benjamin Oort able to rifle a shot right into the end zone, doesn't really look affected by the wind at all.
Yeah, both players that look like they have a lot of experience and a lot of experience in important games, which is impressive to see for such young athletes.
So Izzy, what do you think? Is Belgium going to put on that same zone here on New Zealand?
Might be worth a quick zone just to shut down any kind of pull play, slow down their offense. You just got to break, so we want to put a lot of pressure on their O-line again, try to get that double break. It is tough. They're going upwind, but if they can apply the pressure and make New Zealand pass a lot in this point, that's a success for the D-line.
So that pull hangs for days, just going to go slightly out of bounds. So New Zealand is going to be able to take it up at the brick mark in the middle of the field, but looks like it. Belgium is putting on that 3-person zone. On the sideline, nice shot through the zone. Doyle through the middle. And a big flick. It's looping around, but knocked away by number 99, Orlowski's. Looked like a foul is being called at the same time as an injury.
Yeah, it looked like he just came crashing down on his hip. Definitely clipped the New Zealand player a little bit in that contest. They're going to talk about it, but definitely looks like an injury call as well. That would be a big loss for the Belgians. Orlowski's been doing a lot of heavy lifting for them all week. Hopefully he'll be all right and get back out there.
Looks like probably just a little bit of an impact wound. Sometimes those things, they hit you so hard and you just have to walk it off a little bit. But we have Mr. Steve Baker out there. That's one of the game advisors for this game. So he's going to help both teams communicate to figure out what the end call is, because it looks like they're maybe saying
he's
foul,
retracted
foul.
I believe it's retracted, yeah. maybe the game advisors just gave a different perspective, and they were able to make that call pretty quick.
And that's one of the differences here with WFDF rules. Game advisors, their calling isn't final, so players can just go to them for advice and then make a decision on their own volition. Belgium looking stifled here, but able to get a reset off to the middle.
Yeah, they really got to try to get to the other side of the field, use the whole width. That's the easier side with the wind to throw from. On this close sideline, it's very tough to throw it off the line or throw a huck into the lanes or even an underpass. They need to work it to the other side.
So we have Yonkers with the disc. Inside throw, breaks to the sideline. That's looking nice. Penn Oort fires one into the end zone, out into acres of space. That's Dan DeMarais with a goal.
Yeah, just unfazed by the win there, not even intimidated slightly. Knew exactly what he wanted to do and delivered.
I've gotten a chance to see a few New Zealand games now. I've definitely watched them a little bit more than Belgium, and they have been playing a similar game to Belgium here. Like in the past, I've seen a lot of hucks from them, maybe a few throws laterally, just waiting for the opportunity to huck. So I think coming out of this timeout, Belgium just called a timeout on the right side of your screen. We're going to see something like that. We have some of the big guys out there. Nicholas Whitlock definitely looking to either strike or put it because he's got some other big receivers on the line, with the likes of number 48, that's Ford, and some others, some change, you could say. So I think it will be interesting to see what New Zealand puts out on O after this.
Oh, yeah. They know it's an important point. Belgium's got the swing of momentum right now with another break, and New Zealand's got to work upwind. So you know either a tough zone or a tough man defense is coming down on you, and you're really going to have to work this point to punch it in and get your D-line back out there.
And an interesting timeout call from Belgium. You feel like they had the momentum there, so not sure. Oh, never mind. New Zealand called the timeout. Thank you to Mr. Driscoll on the sideline for helping us out there. So, yes, New Zealand called the timeout, so they're looking to get fired up.
Makes way more sense
That
now.
makes way more sense. I was a little bit shocked when I saw the hand signals coming from the Belgian side, but definitely makes sense. Benjamin Oort just killing it on these pulls, making it so hard. New Zealand unable to pick up. Belgium already there, but that's a nice throw out to the sideline. Belgium looking person defense.
Yeah, it's
Whitlock.
a very sloughy man defense here, trying to look for poaches and help out where they can.
Definitely good when you have a little bit of a crosswind like this. It gives the defense a lot more opportunity to track down some errant throws. And a big throw goes up. It's reeled in by Tane Rolfe. And so New Zealand is back on the board. We're at 3-2.
Yeah, I believe that was Whitlock again with the throw. Looking very crisp, very smooth out there. And like you were pointing out earlier, I've played these teams before in the adult and some of the junior divisions in the past. And, yeah, they're both very huck-happy teams. But they're both very grinding and a lot of cuts, a lot of continuous motion. They have good systems, and it's definitely showing here that their youth is looking very crisp.
Absolutely. I've actually been really impressed this whole tournament with the caliber of throws, especially since the weather has kind of taken a turn for the interesting in the last few days. We're definitely a lot warmer today. It's a lot more pleasant than it has been for the last two, but it's still windy and it's not consistent. The wind is swirling. It's been switching from upwind, downwind to a crosswind. So kudos to these throwers out there, really showing their stuff, showing that they've been practicing their throws a lot and in a lot of different conditions. So it's really great to see the youth programs coming out like that. So you have Graydon Scott on the pole, New Zealand's D-line out there. Yonkers in the middle. Belgium set up in that vertical stack. Good defense from number 24, that's Skinner, making it very difficult for Yonkers to get a throw off. But in the meantime, there's a pick in the stack. I think Belgium's been struggling with organization in their stack a little bit. There have been a lot of double cuts. Yeah, we see another pick right there.
Yeah, the problem is I think that the defenders are knowing that most of the cuts are coming on this close side on the one half of the field. They're not utilizing the other half of the width of the field. And so it's easier for the defense to clamp down on these unders. They know it's a really tough throw across into the wind. And so it makes it a lot easier to defend a vertical stack if you know that it's 10 times harder to throw to one half of the field. And it looks like since that wasn't caught on the pick call, they may be seeing a turnover.
Pick call is one of those tricky rules in Ultimate. There's so many caveats, so many clauses that depending on every situation, the outcome can be different. So really nice to see that we've got a couple of game advisors in the mix to help these two teams make a decision about where the disc is gonna go.
Especially in the last few years, I think they changed the rule so it's a little bit closer to USAU's rule of boat picks, where not every pick call is immediate stoppage, as it used to be when I played. So it could be a little confusion of that too. I'm not sure exactly when they updated, but I know it was pretty recently.
So it looks like it's going to go back to Yonkers. A little bit of a discussion on what the stall count is going to be when the disc gets tapped back in. Looks like 4. I don't know, my eyesight's not great, but I think that was a 4.
It looked like 4.
Nice cut under, and unfortunate, I think that disc just jumped a little bit in the wind. Out of the hands of number 58, Feller. Been so good for this Belgium team, really taking up a lot of the yards. And a throw out into space. That is a beautiful throw by McKeon. So New Zealand has tied things back up with Belgium.
Yeah, it just shows how the wind can really affect this game. You easily can get a 2-point swing in these kind of upwind, side crosswind kind of games. Well, one direction is way harder to work it up. But kudos to New Zealand. That was a sweet throw up the line, just painting lines like Da Vinci.
That is the tough corner to throw in, though, because that's this sort of downwind in the crosswind situation. You can see where the camera's pointing right now. The flags, they're all pointing right to the, I guess, left side of the field. So that makes that corner the hardest corner to throw into because the wind is just going to push any disc right into the ground. So definitely great throw by New Zealand, able to keep it up and float it out right around the Belgian defender.
New Zealand getting some love from some young fans here. Looks like Belgium's keeping pretty much the same O-line out there, ready to go again. They know it was just a small execution error. Nothing major in their system was flawed. And they're ready to go again.
So Yonkers in the middle. And a huck right away to Feller. And he's going to be able to chase it all the way into the end zone. That is a perfect goal and a stylish spike by Belgium.
It's a great redemption for him, too. Had that little pancake drop, or an Izzy drop, as we like to call it on GOAT. But, yeah, and then a fantastic cut. Easily caught that in the end zone.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful throw. It was always going to be out of the reach from New Zealand. Just leading, lands right into the end zone. Perfect, full stride catch. That's exactly what a coach wants to see.
Zealand back on 0, so we'll see if Belgium throws on that quick little zone again. Seems to be working for them. Thanks. So let's see if they keep that going.
And it looks like on Belgium, number 99, Orlovskis is back on the field, so glad to see that his injury didn't keep him off for the rest of the game. That is a huge pull. It's going to crash into the ground. New Zealand moving quickly. Whitlock on the sideline, looking up at this 3-person zone. He is looking deep, floats one out into space. That is such a nice throw.
Yeah, the positioning of New Zealand is fantastic. They really spread the width of the field and use everybody. That was just a poor decision. But their spreading of the field makes that zone way easier to navigate.
Absolutely, and unfortunate because they were able to work it up so well up the field, but that high release flick going downwind, maybe a little ill-advised, but now we know that Whitlock has that throw as well, so we can add it onto this bullet point list of all of his talents. Belgium stuck, and a big disc goes up, almost grabbed. But it looks like Orlovskis is going to call a foul on this. A little bit too much body contact for his liking.
I think he's debating about, he went up and defender kind of backed up into him and kind of knocked him off his balance, and he wasn't able to make a good play on the disc. I think that's about the only argument you could make in that situation. It didn't look too egregious.
Yeah, he's kind of pointing at his leg, maybe saying that his foot got taken out from underneath him a little bit, or he wasn't able to jump properly, and that is one of the problems. You can't have your airspace taken away from you, and you can't be sort of interfered with on your jump. So we'll see what this ruling goes like.
Getting a little help from the game advisors again.
And one of the challenges at these international tournaments as well is there can be a little bit of a language barrier. Luckily, we have great hand signals, so it looks like it's going to be a contested foul. So the disc is going to go back, and it's going to go in at the whatever stall count it left the hands of De Marais at, unless it was above 6, and then it'll come in on 6, which is what it looks like it's going to be. Really testing my rules knowledge here.
Doing better than I would.
Before Worlds competitions, you have to take at least a standard level quiz on the WFDF rules. So, depending on my knowledge from that, and about 10 different jumps, but looks like someone comes down pretty hard on the New Zealand player.
Yeah, a lot of elbows getting thrown around, a lot of jumps into this like kind of hospital pass that flowed up forever. Don't think he's calling anything though.
Yeah, it looks like just an injury call. So number 20, McKeon, is going to go in for him. A lot of players around the disc there. Nice dish back. Throw up into space, but we have another pick from Belgium. New Zealand, that's number 25. Jack Doyle is going to catch up. Nice around shot out to Orlovskis. He's looking upfield. Floats it out into space. And that is a shot Whitlock in the area, and he knocks that one away.
Belgium's flow in the vertical stack looks way better now, though. Looks like the players are running very deliberate cuts, clearing out of space, making those wide throws possible. But it's pretty hard to throw around Whitlock.
So Belgium going to throw on this 3-person zone again. Looking to trap on the sideline. Not giving a lot of options. New Zealand now deep in their end zone, and a layout catch block Callahan for Belgium. That makes it 5-3 for Belgium, and that is exciting.
That was ridiculous. He read that play like a book, saw that coming from a mile away. Great athletic play.
And we could kind of see that developing up in the booth. You could feel it get a little nervous when you get that deep into your end zone and making those lateral swing passes. That's a tough one for New Zealand to swallow, but incredible grab, incredible layout Callahan. You don't get to see those very often in person.
No, on GOAT, I don't think we've ever had one. So maybe that's because we played bad defense, or I'm not sure. But what I think New Zealand needs to do to get through this zone a little better is kind of get their handlers a little closer together, maybe have more of a 4-person back, able to do a few more give-goes, quick passes, short passes so they're easy, and get through the cup and then open up to your big, tall receivers.
And we've talked about this quite a bit in the last two days, because it's really the wind is really starting to affect these teams, and the huck and pin method is not the prettiest type of ultimate, but when the wind is gusting like this, when you have the choice to end up in a Callahan or just get it as far away from your end zone as possible, sometimes it's better to just give her a good chuck and then play some defense, because it's so much harder to work 70 yards than it is to work 10.
Sounds like the good old university days.
I know, and we did talk about that yesterday too. I talked about good old Northwest Ultimate. We talked a little bit about the Canadian series here happening September, October. In Canada, it's pretty nasty part of the year here, so we're very familiar with playing in the wind. It's usually quite a bit colder than this, but we know how it works, and sometimes you just have to throw it.
I think New Zealand might have taken a timeout there. Try to get the energy back after that sapping Callahan there.
Yeah, and to give their offensive players a little bit of a rest after that long walk from the other end zone. But I think we're about to see something feisty here from the New Zealand boys. I can really feel it in the air. So Urt with a pull. Picked up by Whitlock. And a big huck out into space, and just can't float for long enough for New Zealand to pick it up.
Yeah, that's a really hard huck. You could see that play developing. It's a very quick, sweeping kind of ho-stack play. Super effective again, the guy open. Just unfortunately missed the shot.
And something that Belgium is doing really, really well is their pulls are so impressive. And that is a big throw, but it's going to go out of bounds, and I think it's probably going to be called out outside the end zone here, maybe around.
Looks like there's a foul call though on the throw.
But yeah, the Belgium pulls have been going so deep and floating for so long that the Belgium defense is able to set up, and they're really shutting down the first look from New Zealand. They're not even able to get off a centering pass before they start their play, and that's totally changing this game, I think.
It's an underrated part of the game is the pulls. It's starting to become more of a factor now. Teams are getting way better at pulling. It can really sway to the defensive advantage when you use them effectively and you have good pullers. as an offensive player, I know it's very frustrating when you just you have a whole play set up, you catch it, and they're right down on you. You don't even have time to send the pass, and then you're all flustered. It can be so effective. Looks like they're going to the game advisor for advice on that. Get her perspective in there.
Yeah, both these teams really getting their money's worth on the advisors today, but it's been really helpful, I think, to keep discussions civil and to move things along. Otherwise, I think we would have been here for a long time. So it looks like it's going to be a contested foul. It's going to go back to Desmarais right on the sideline. Whitlock on the mark. Coming in on stall 3.
It's also quarterfinals. You know, you want to try to get the calls right. There's nothing wrong with you. Another perspective in there to figure it out.
And another huck. We have Orlowski's in the area, and he boxes out the New Zealand defender. That's a great read and a great grab.
Yeah, just really chucking that disc. Just let your receiver do all the work. With this kind of win, it's not a bad strategy, especially when you got great, tall Belgian receivers.
New Zealand into a little bit of a hole here, but just before this game, I was walking around looking at some of the women's rounds, trying to update the fans at home with some tweets, and I got sucked into this Netherlands-Colombia game, the women's game. Colombia was down 12-8, climbed back, tied it up at 12-12, and I had to leave to come up to the booth, but from where I'm sitting, I could see some orange shirts running onto the field, so I believe that Netherlands won that game 13-12, but I think that's a testament for how much a game can sway just in 15 or 20 minutes. So hopefully we can see a little bit more spirit from this New Zealand team and seeing them making some good choices, getting some good passes out there, trying to get around this Belgian zone.
Yeah, we're not even at halftime yet. There's still lots of game left. New Zealand just needs to get a little energy, make a few big plays, and they're right back in the game easily.
Elliott in the middle, and Whitlock digs it out of the grass. Back to Elliott.
This is great spacing by New Zealand again, able to find all the holes.
Nice grab, high reaching grab, leading all the way into the end zone. Fitzpatrick, Cockram, kind of near the end zone line. Not sure if that was a straddle or if he's going to be in or out. So we bring in the game advisor, Mr. Baker again.
Think he called him out?
So
it's hard to tell. There's a white line right after the blue painted line that's very faint in the middle of the field.
So everyone's going to collect themselves before Fitzpatrick Cockram taps it in. And that is going to be a goal. So New Zealand is back on the board, and that was a great throw we saw through the middle. Great movement from the New Zealand offense to break apart that zone.
Yeah, it was easy, quick movement. They got their spacing down very nicely. Opens up the holes for the whole field, able to get big gainers to the receivers, as well as just keeping nice short give-goes in the backfield. It's exactly what you want to do when you're playing against a zone. And now we can tell New Zealand's not phased anymore. Their heads are right back in this game, and they're fired up for some of this D-line point right here.
And sometimes you just need to feel your way through things before you can crack apart a zone like that. I'd love to see a different zone look from Belgium at this point, maybe some person defense. We saw a little bit of a junky look at one point before, so if they throw that down, that might confuse the New Zealand men once again. So we talk about that a lot. It's the strategy of when to switch zones, and so when you see a team starting to figure you out a little bit, you throw something new at them, and then they have to figure that out as well. So we're going to have George Skinner here with the pull. That's a nice floaty one. Going to give New Zealand a lot of time to get there, and it's going to land just in bounds. That is a fantastic pull upwind.
That's Kwok getting down, putting a lot of pressure on the handlers right away.
We have Yonkers with the disc here. Feeling out the wind with some turf bits.
I don't know how effective that is at reading wind, but
yeah. He floats one out, and it is tapped away from some help defense.
Yeah, it's really hard to huck on this close sideline with the wind pushing towards the camera. If they could get some hucks off on the far side, then they can use the wind to shape their disc a lot better. It should make those hucks a lot easier.
And it gives them a little bit more margin for error, too. It won't push it right out of bounds right away. It gives a lot more chances for other people to pick it up, collect the garbage. But having the disc on this end zone front cone, so difficult. And a big layout D.
Oh, my goodness.
And almost a Callahan.
It is a Callahan. It was foul called, no contest.
Wow.
That was almost 2 layout Callahans in this game. More Callahans I've seen all year.
I was just about to say, can you remember a game where you've seen 2 Callahans?
No, I can barely remember the last Callahan I saw.
Wow. And that is some really great defense from Belgium. I am in awe right now. So much pressure, especially on that front cone. It's so hard to get off that front cone looking upwind.
Kind of seen this from both teams. Yeah, they're only using, not really spreading the whole width of the field all the time. When they consistently move the disc width-wise and then go north-south along the field, it's a lot easier. It's when they get stuck in a rhythm of trying to jam it on the open side that they're having problems. But Belgium, with this intense defense, they're hungry for more.
So now we have Belgium at 7, New Zealand at 4. So if Belgium can break here, this is going to take us into halftime. New Zealand really has to fight them off to really feel like they're going to stay in this game. So Belgium here coming down with a different look. A little bit person, a little bit junky. That's a layout D attempt.
But like you said, that different look definitely phased New Zealand for a second.
So it looks like it's gonna stay, no contest here. So we have Fitzpatrick Cockram with the disc. In the middle, back to Whitlock. And an unfortunate turnover. So we're gonna have Yonkers pick up the disc. Looking towards the end zone. That's Orlovsky's 10 yards out. Gonna call a foul. No contest. Steps around. That's a nice throw around. Dish back. Orlovsky's beautiful throws out into space. Yonkers has tons of room. Looking for that around. Ort out on the sideline. Back to Orlovsky's. Yonkers into the end zone. Unguarded. Belgium is going to take half.
Yeah, impressive first half there from Belgium. Really up the acceleration in these last few points, put the defensive pressure on New Zealand.
And we could see there, Belgium has put on so much more defensive pressure, like Izzy said, than New Zealand is putting on themselves. And we really need to see New Zealand up the ante a little bit in the second half if they want to try and crawl back in here. We know that they have impressive disc skills. It's just when it flips around, when their O-line is playing defense, there's just not enough pressure, not quite enough grit out there, and they're leaving a little bit too much space. Belgium has really excellent throwers, and they're able to put it out and create more space, throw people open. So New Zealand definitely going to have to bring a little bit more of their D game in the second half, I think.
Yeah, no, 100%. Offensively, I don't really see much wrong. It's just small miscues and execution errors that's going through right now. If they can use that width of the field, if they can really do give goes, small easy passes that they did in that one zone point that blew it open, if they can play consistently like that, there's going to be no problem offensively. But yeah, defensively, they really got to start stepping up.
Yeah, and we're gonna take a quick break for halftime here. We will be back in a couple minutes. Belgium 8, New Zealand 4. So we'll see you in 5. All right, welcome back. This is the World Junior Ultimate Championships. We're here on the showcase field, brought to you by Cut Camp, streaming brought to you by Minute School. Here we have a game against Belgium and New Zealand. This is a quarterfinal game. We are now into quarterfinals in the men's division. So we have Belgium up at 8, New Zealand at 4. This has been a game of defense from Belgium. New Zealand trying to keep up, but looks like that pull is going to go out of bounds. And I'm joined here by Isaiah Massick-Kelly in the booth, and we were just talking about how great the pulls have been and how important pulls are to Ultimate.
Yeah, Belgium's been very consistent with their pulls. I think that's maybe their first one or second one out of bounds all game, and all the other ones have been pretty perfect.
So we have Whitlock to pick up in the middle of the field, guarded by Benjamin Oort, another superstar here. New Zealand set up in a very confused-looking horizontal stack. But now McEwen looking upfield. He's going to float one out to the end zone. It's a one-on-one matchup, and a nice grab. That is a huge grab by number 22, Tane Rolfe. I think that's this...
It's out of bounds.
Got it,
yeah.
got it.
He didn't realize he was out of bounds until he landed, and then tried a greatest. But still a great grab, great read. That's a hard throw, hard huck to make.
And we saw him in the first half coming down with a big huck as well. So I think we can expect to see him taking a bigger role in the second half, maybe looking to chuck a few more.
Oh, looks like they're running classic. A famous GOAT play that Wirt stole from us this year, looks like.
And dunks on, throws it into the end zone, and that is a goal for Belgium, a break out of half.
Yeah, looks like Belgium was still hungry for more breaks, and they're just coming up with the right plays at the right moments. Big skies, big throws, and they're just doing the small little things a little bit better than New Zealand. And it's just showing in the score right now.
That was a nasty grab by number 8, Benjamin Oort. Just posterizing the New Zealand defender. Unfortunate. He was just able to get up there so much faster, so much higher than the other guy.
That's going to be tough for New Zealand here. They really got to find some emotional energy here, get back in this game, just get a score in. Don't worry about the total score right now. Just score this 1 point, get their D-line back out there, and start applying pressure on Belgium.
Looks like we're going to have a pretty similar offensive line out there for Belgium. Just the usuals. They're going to go out there. They're going to do their stuff. We have Belgium here with the pull. That's Orlovsky's, and that is huge. I don't know if that's going to stay in. Nice grab by Whitlock. McEwen looking up against this zone. Centers it. Huge inside throw, unfortunately just out of the reach of Fitzpatrick Cockram. So Belgium is going to take a look at the end zone here. Orlovskis floating out a pass, and unfortunately for the Belgium offensive player there, he got sucked in by Whitlock.
Yeah, both teams looking very hungry for the end zone with their throws right now. They need to take a breath, work the disc a bit more, and pick their shots a little bit better, especially New Zealand through the zone.
Yeah, this 3-person zone, there's sort of a midfield, mid there. He's blocking a lot of the action happening in the middle of the field, makes it a lot harder. But New Zealand also needs to be careful of those lateral throws, and looks like that is just out of bounds.
Yeah, I think he just a little casual, saw that was wide open, just didn't realize he was right on the sideline, stepped out on the line.
Nice grab by Belgium. Orlovsky's Middle of the field, looking to the end zone. Inside out backhand.
Great break throw.
That is going to be a goal. Orlowski is just an incredible thrower. Such a wide arsenal at his fingertips there. Really, really impressive.
Definitely helps that he's got a huge frame. Looks like he's like one of the tallest on Belgium, which is hard to do. They're a tall team. But yeah, he uses that full length very well. Gets around his mark. Nice, smooth, crisp throws. Just able to place the disc wherever he wants. And New Zealand looking a little bit more tired now. They do only have 18 players, I believe, here, with one injured. You know, it's been a long tournament. It's hard to sustain this level of competition over multiple days with such a short roster.
Yeah, we've seen that actually from quite a few teams here. I think the shortest roster I saw was the People's Republic of China, the men's team. They only had 12 players. And Waterloo is a long way to go. Typically, world championships that happen in Europe have the best turnout. They have the most teams, most bolstered teams. Here we have both Canadian and American teams took the full 28 rosters, but a lot of these other teams from elsewhere are taking much fewer, as little as half of that. So definitely hard. It's a long tournament. We're starting to see fatigue from some of these teams, especially the top-heavy teams that depend on just a few players. But New Zealand doing actually a really good job here, working it up and down the field. But here, stall count definitely getting high. Really tight. The handlers need to spread out a little bit in that horizontal stack. Otherwise, they're going to look into a poach. McEwen pointing. He wants a deep shot.
Yeah, the rhythm of the New Zealand cuts are just a little bit off, so it makes it hard to move the disc up the field now.
And there it is. That's the cut he was looking for. And that throw is going to slow down and speed up. Really hard read. Tough break for Skinner. But unfortunately, it's just going to speed up and sink into the end zone a lot faster than it was sort of in the middle of the flight path.
Belgium sticking with the vertical stack. It's been working for them fairly well, especially on this D-line.
Those inside throws are so precise. Belgium doing a great job of working it back and forth, using their fakes to open up the mark. And that throw maybe a little bit too precise into the hands. It's just too hard, and number 5 can't hang on to it. McEwen taking lots of shots, and that is an incredible grab into the hands of number 22, Tane Rolfe.
It looked like the Belgian defender even got a finger on that and touched it. Great reaction.
Yeah, just not enough for the sticky hands of number 22.
It's good to see New Zealand get that point in, get a little more fire in them. You know, try to bolster this D-line maybe, put more pressure on Belgium and try to rattle off a few breaks here.
And that's really what you need when you put out a D-line, especially at this point. New Zealand really has nothing to lose. They want to put out a D-line that's frothing at the mouth. They want to create a lot of pressure, and we've seen that so far in this tournament, especially here on the live stream. When you have a really frantic defensive line, that translates immediately to the team that's playing on O, and it creates a lot of confusion, and that's really what can change the wind in a game.
I think New Zealand's also in a position where if they can get a quick shot off to the end zone, it's a good decision. Try to rattle off a quick break and then get an upwind point where they can put a lot of pressure on Belgium.
Yeah, definitely. The quick break is critical here, just for the New Zealand legs, and that is a nice upwind pull from New Zealand. They're going to run down there in a zone. So we have Burns on the mark. Switching now. Belgium handlers very tight, hugging the sideline. Yonkers
throwing a few scoobers already, so you got to respect that he's going to throw them.
Nice grab. That's Feller. A lot of upside down throws here. Very brave offensive line.
Yeah, very confident Belgian O-line here. Not afraid to huck it, throw upside down, break it through a zone.
Yonkers again, pointing to what he wants.
But this is great pressure from New Zealand, pushing Belgium back. Almost every other throw they have to push back, and Belgium taking a timeout here.
And I think we can see a little bit of frustration from Yonkers there. He's pointing at his players, telling them where he wants them to go, and they're not following his orders. And I think that's why he called that timeout there. A little bit frustrated by the Belgian offensive setup.
Yeah, I think he might have saw something a little different, but from up here, I think they just needed to move the disc a little faster in the handler set so they can hit the cutters. Maybe that's why he's frustrated, that not enough people are coming down to pop in with the handlers, maybe have one more back. So this is a good time to regroup and rediscuss their plan for this zone.
And we see in the New Zealand huddle there, they're chatting about what they're going to do. I'm curious to see if they're going to put on the same zone if they're going to come down with a different set. I think this would be a really good opportunity to maybe switch things up, maybe from their 3-person zone to a different type of zone, whether it's going to be junkier or maybe toss in a 4th person. We have talked about this before in some other games, but potentially think about putting on one player to guard Yonkers or one player to guard one of their other players, and then keep that 3-person zone on. It's going to make it a lot more difficult for the Belgian offense to get off any throws. And so, like we said, in Toronto, we call that the pest offense. Out on the West Coast, we used to call it assassin defense, and try and shut down the one player, the most key player on the field, and it creates a lot of confusion.
Looks like they're staying with the regular set that they had, so they're ignoring you, Naomi. Sorry.
I won't take offense.
Or they might be trying some sort of trap defense because the disc is fairly close to the sideline.
Yonkers, tricky upside down throw. Feller has it in the middle. Belgium doing a really great job of moving it back and forth laterally. New Zealand containing.
Yeah, they really needed a cutter attacking down when they get a break or an open side pass to the sideline just to try to gain yards up that side. Instead, they're forced to basically keep the same yardage distance and slowly get 2-yard passes.
Oh, a little bit of a collision there. Calling another travel on Yonkers. Looks like New Zealand is going to hold this zone past the brick, but trying to push Belgium backwards. Really, really tight around the disc.
Might be a double or triple team there.
And I think what New Zealand is arguing is that because Feller is so close to where the disc is, he's within that 3 meters or 10 feet, I believe. The New Zealand defense is able to clamp down like that, and I believe that is the rule. It's just the argument of whether Feller is within that zone or not.
Yeah, I think the difference is the New Zealand player has to be within the 3 meters of his defender as well.
Right.
You can't just be 20 yards off and then some other guy come in and you're close enough to do it.
And Belgium doing a really good job of switching between these nice, difficult throws, these really a lot of rotation, and then switching to a really casual upside down throw. You wouldn't know that the wind is gusting here. It's making it very difficult for New Zealand to set up. But holding this 3-person zone, pushing all the way to the sideline.
This cup's doing a lot of work. It's great work for New Zealand. They haven't even gone past the half into New Zealand's half. They just keep forcing the Belgians back.
And the New Zealand Cup also doing a great job. They're switching on the mark. So if someone gets a little bit more tired, they're able to switch back and forth. And really putting on a lot of defensive pressure. Right now we see Rowan Burns on the mark there. But
that scuba just as a can opener for Yonkers.
Like we said before, he's really using his length, able to get so many throws off. Like that throw right there totally opens up the field. Another scuba.
Scoobers for days.
Scoobers for days. And another scuba out into space. Yonkers to Feller. That connection we've seen over and over again.
It's great patience by Belgium. Great defensive pressing by New Zealand. Showing that they can apply a lot of pressure with this zone. Making Belgium work super hard to just score that 1 point. That's an investment for later on in the game for New Zealand.
Yeah, I think that's a really good zone. And I don't know about you, I can't really think of a way that they can stop that scuba. It's just the Belgian handlers are so lanky and they're releasing it so high. It was a little bit of a shorter cup. I think maybe that's the only thing, but that scuba.
I think that's what you want them to throw. It's a high risk, high reward kind of throw. Yonkers is doing an excellent job of throwing the scubers. But I think that's a throw you want to force. Maybe in the middle of the zone, you want to kind of be underneath your players more, so he has to throw over more than one defender, and that will give you more chances to get a turnover. But other than that, it's pretty hard to stop perfect scubers.
Yeah. So now we have Belgium at 11, I believe, New Zealand at 5. This game is getting a little bit out of hand for New Zealand. They're definitely going to have to start taking some shots. We still have some time on the clock, but it is definitely running out. We're going to see this pull. Looks like it's going to go out of bounds, so we're going to have Whitlock pick up in the middle. New Zealand in that horizontal stack. Whitlock going to be flanked by Doyle and McEwen. And Whitlock marked by Orlovsky's. I really like that matchup. That's a lot of arm and leg between two players. And a nice layout attempt. A little bit of contact, but New Zealand able to stay with it on the sideline. Back to Whitlock. He's looking upfield. Throws one out, picked up by Fitzpatrick Cockram. And a huge hammer, and that's going to be good. The Whitlock to Rolfe connection is so on fire.
Yeah, you think you can throw scubers, Yonkers? Whitlock can throw hammers. Whitlock can throw hammers.
That was wild. That was a huge hammer.
Yeah, New Zealand looking good now. They're giving a few seconds in the lane, let cuts develop, get big yard gainers underneath, and then dumping it right back into some handler sets. Maybe dumping it once or twice, and then again getting big gainers all point long. They're looking a lot smoother, a little bit more confident now from New Zealand.
Yeah, definitely some better spacing in their horizontal stack. They did get sucked into the far sideline for a little bit, but when you have a hammer like that in your back pocket and you just have to pull it out, you're pretty good. You can get out of any sort of tricky situation, and that throw so far away from the Belgian defense, pretty perfect looking throw.
So it's a pretty pivotal point for New Zealand. They got to apply a lot of pressure again on Belgium. Hopefully get a turn this time.
So we're going to have Graydon Scott here with a pull. Oh my goodness. Belgium tries to pick it up. It's a little low to the ground. So that is going to be a turnover.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to catch a pull near your ankles.
Oh, and he gets the run-through block. And quickly a foul was called, but we're going to retract it. Yonkers to pick up the pull. New Zealand organizing into their three-person zone look. Belgium getting pushed into their end zone. Scuber.
Looks like the one adjustment New Zealand did is have number 9 here, or the right wing, able to be a little more free roaming, able to pinch in when he wants and try to get a poach block.
New Zealand doing a really good job of crashing cutters, picking up on them, trying to close the gap, containing in this zone really, really well here.
Yeah, each player knows their role very well, where the position of the disc is on the field. They know where do they need to go. It's a very fluid zone.
That floats deep into the end zone. But another, I think a scuba from Yonkers there really opens up the space. Belgium's still trapped on the sideline, but just shooting those scubers all over the place.
I think I should move to Belgium and learn how to throw scubers like these guys.
And that is a nice throw, floating just a few yards outside the end zone. Belgium hits Yonkers. No coverage there, and that is 12 for Belgium.
Yeah, again, New Zealand does a great job with their zone. A lot of pressure, a lot of passes had to be thrown, and they consistently push Belgium back. But Belgium with the patience, a lot of scubers, and just able to see the field just very well and use their throws to get around this cup, and an easy goal after they broke through the cup.
Yeah, definitely really, really impressive patience and composure from the Belgian offense. Those throws, getting those scubers across, and it's not just Yonkers throwing them. It's a handful of these Belgian players, all totally capable of throwing those scubers in this wind over a cup under a lot of pressure. So really something to be said for the elite throwing of this Belgian team. So Belgium's pull looks like it's not going to stay in bounds. Whitlock's going to pick up in the middle. Looking once more at this horizontal set. But Belgium setting up in that three-person zone.
It's a good look, switching it back up from man to zone again. Try to slow the game down a little bit.
Whitlock looking for options. Not a lot, but muscles one through. Still on the sideline. Fakes deep. That's a nice throw.
Just has great touch on his throws.
He's got a few options in the end zone. And that's a nice shot, unfortunately, just off the hands of Elliott. That was a really nice throw from 66 on New Zealand. Doherty Eagles, unfortunate turnover. But now they're going to have Belgium on the sideline right at the front cone. That's a really tough spot to throw from. Whitlock, big mark.
They got really clamped down here on the unders here, really challenge everything. The huck should float.
Oort puts one out into the end zone, and Whitlock able to get one of his mitts in there, going to get the D, and New Zealand has another shot.
Yeah, I think this time New Zealand needs to go move the disc a little faster through the zone. Maybe one more handler. Oh, they don't get a chance.
And a good look right away, trying to move things quickly, but not seeing Benjamin Oort standing there in the mid. So it's going to be another turnover. Not a lot of movement no movement from the Belgian stack. And it's going to float, and unfortunate turnover again. Whitlock picking up, looking deep. A lot of crowding. Scoots right above the grass. We're all the way to the sideline. Rolf on the far sideline. Doyle moving it back to Whitlock, and point blocked by number 16 on Belgium. That's Labazuski. Great D.
Yeah, Whitlock's trying to been shredding right through the middle of the zone. A lot of quick passes there for 30, 40 yards. He's been doing that a few times. The mid-mids have started to adapt for Belgium. Anticipated that one.
Yeah, and just a little bit too low. If you can get that maybe a few feet higher in the air, that could be successful, but right into the hands of Belgium. And so Belgium is also going to take an injury sub. We have a few switches in here. Belgian stack, kind of a flood stack. A little bit tough catch for Ben Oort. He's having a tough chance on this point here. His teammates are making him work really, really hard.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of great throws out there, but it is still windy.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some hard throws across to the far side of the field.
Fun pass out to the middle. Rolf just outside the end zone. Looking back, finds McEwen. Belgium in a person defense now. That's Doyle in the middle of the field. New Zealand getting pushed back a little bit here.
I think they're used to the zone look, so they'll got to be a little more aggressive with their cuts now that it's back to man.
That's a nice shot. Whitlock turns his defender around, and that's another point for New Zealand here.
Yeah, New Zealand still showing a lot of grit. It's a long point, a few turnovers for each team, but they're able to punch it in, showing they're not going to go down without a fight here.
Yeah, and that was a really nice cut by Whitlock. Made it look like he was selling it into the stack, and then just turns on a dime, open for I believe Fitzpatrick Cockram. So nice cut there. Great recognition from teammates, and I think they're probably just used to seeing that. And so you can see a little bit of chemistry on this field.
Yeah, Whitlock can do everything. It's nice to see him out there cutting as well. New Zealand can kind of utilize him in more places. It might help their offensive line out a bit more instead of him just being a one-dimensional handler. If he can actually stretch the field, that might open up a few more looks.
And we were talking about that a little bit. Whitlock, a very strong thrower on this New Zealand team, and so that's why we've seen him more setting up as the anchor handler. In the past, we've seen him more setting up as a cutter, initiating cutter, continuing cutter, but New Zealand using him solely as a handler in this game, and I think that's kind of taken away from some of their downfield looks, but they have some other strength in the likes of Rolf and Sider and some of the others. So good look for New Zealand. They are back out here in that three-person cup, trying to contain Belgium, trying to stop some of those scoobers, holding them on the sideline, but we have Feller. Those scoobers are just so hard to stop.
I like the zone that New Zealand's playing, but time's not long of New Zealand's friend. They really need to start getting some blocks and some turns. You know, I think maybe a switch back to man or a quick zone melt might change the look up.
Nice block.
But as I'm saying that, I eat my own words.
Eat your words, Izzy. So now we have number 20. That's McEwen picking up, looking downfield. Wide open receiver. That's Sider. An unfortunate. Wind just pops that one up. So Belgium is going to get another chance here. Looks like New Zealand quickly setting that cup. And that's our first scuba turnover of from this Belgium side, but that would have been a wild throw if it was completed.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the time to throw the scuba, but I appreciate that he's keeping the trend going.
So we have Sider in the middle of the field. Hammer, unfortunate, just out of the hands of number 42, Rowan Burns. Don't think he was expecting that throw. Tried to hang on to it, but it was a little bit tricky. Fellers in the middle to Yonkers. New Zealand holding the zone right on the end zone line. That is a big looking zone. But Fellers goes up the line and able to put it out into space, out to number 6. That's Mosquake. So we have Belgium 13 and New Zealand 7.
New Zealand's trying to throw everything they got in the books at them now. Holding the zone all the way to the red zone. Not typical North American style. But I find it quite effective every once in a while to do that, to hold the zone the whole way. It kind of flusters the O-line. You know, they're used to the one-on-one matchups in the end zone. And when they got to be more patient and swing the disc, you have a chance for some errors to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I think any time that I've looked at a zone in the end zone, it makes you a little bit uncomfortable when you're on O because we're so used to whatever set, usually a vertical set in the end zone, and then you don't really know what to do. You don't really know where to stand, and it makes it definitely a little bit more difficult. Makes you think a little bit harder. Wirt with the pull. Whitlock in the middle. McEwen. Nice break. New Zealand just working it back and forth right now. Not a lot of options downfield. Whitlock's looking for something that's going to gain yards. And that's a nice shot out into space. Unfortunately, picked off in the backfield there by Orlovsky's. So Belgium is going to pick up. Ben Wirt going to pick up. New Zealand setting their zone. Looks like a 4-person zone this time. A little bit different from what we've seen in the past. Now we're out to 3 people. Orlovsky's fires one into the end zone, out into space, and that's just going to be a little bit too far for Labazuski to pick it up.
Yeah, I think New Zealand needs to give a few more give-goes. Whitlock is just kind of standing there for 4 or 5 stalls at least until he sees something he likes and throwing. But that's really playing into Belgium's defensive hands. Really need to get a little more movement throughout the whole system.
And on this this New Zealand offense, we only have Rolfe in the backfield, guarded by Orlovsky, and then we have sort of number 3, that's Fitzpatrick Cockram, in the middle in this big open space. Nice grab. Great composure from New Zealand here. Whitlock into the middle. Whitlock fighting to keep his feet in. And another almost catch block layout D from Belgium.
Yeah, great awareness by the defender. Just knew exactly where Whitlock was looking. Able to lay out, get the full block.
A lot of defensive pressure here.
Yeah, I like the switch back to man here by New Zealand. Really apply the pressure back on the Belgians. Pressure every pass, every throw.
That is way out into space. Belgium off to the races. Orlovsky's gonna float one out. Able to keep it in. Belgium right on the end zone line. That is a nice inside backhand from Belgium into the end zone. That brings it up to 14.
Yeah, Belgium looking very strong, very confident now. Super patient, knowing when to take their chances. New Zealand looking pretty tired, running their very short roster.
It looks like Belgium just called a timeout here, so the New Zealand offense is going to get a little bit of a break. They're going to have some time to rest their legs, regroup before they go out there. And it's, I think we're all a little bit stunned by Belgium right now. Both of these teams have had a great run in this tournament, but New Zealand having the first half of their tournament really, really strong, having a couple of tough losses in the last day or so. Same thing with Belgium, though. So I think this has been a really well-matched team, but Belgium came in with maybe a little bit more focus, maybe a little bit deeper of a roster, or perhaps more fitness, not too sure. We've seen a lot of heavy lifting from the top players on both teams, so it's tough to see New Zealand go down like this. I know I've seen them play quite a bit this tournament, and I know they have a lot of strength, but Belgium really stunning everyone on this game.
Yeah, you said it. Belgium is like gone way up in stock value right now. New Zealand, I think it's a lot of small little things that really make this score kind of one-sided. They're looking very nice at times. We can see how clean and easy they can get through stuff earlier on, but I think fatigue and just small execution errors are really what's separating the teams right now. But New Zealand sounding pretty fired up now. I'll try to close out the game on a good note here. It's always a little easier to go into a placement game when you've had close out a game with a good few points.
I think the story of this game has been the Belgian defense, all those layout tees, just elevating the pressure so much. I think probably making New Zealand second guess themselves on some of those throws because Belgium has been so tight. Nice grab in the middle, McEwen. Back to Whitlock. Out on the sideline. Inside shot, that's Fitzpatrick Cockram. And unfortunate, just off the hands of McEwen. It's a difficult catch. Very fast-looking inside flick, trying to break that cup. So Desmarais to pick up into the middle. That's Benjamin Wirt. Orlovsky's. And a huge inside throw. There's a lot of players in the area. Desmarais going to pick that up, and that is game. Belgium is going to take this one 15-7.
Yeah, I think that's also been showing kind of what's been going on throughout the whole game. Belgium just able to come up with a few more big plays in crowds and in the throwing and hucks, and that's really pushed them up into a wide margin here and a nice victory for them going on to the semis.
Yeah, so we're going to have Belgium moving on to the semifinals tomorrow. We will see them tomorrow, I believe, in the morning. And so very exciting for the Belgian program here. Great playing from both sides. It's been difficult conditions, really changing conditions during this game. So kudos to both teams, and good luck to both of them in the rest of the tournament. Coming up next at 5 o'clock, so in about half an hour, we are going to have the last power pool game in the women's division. So we're going to have Team Canada facing off against the Netherlands. We've seen both teams with a win and a loss apiece today, so it's going to be interesting to see these two teams match up. It's going to be critical for them for seeding and going into the next round, so very exciting to see that. Tune in, please, at 5 o'clock. We'll see you there. Thank you for everyone who is watching this game, brought to you by Cut Camps on the Showcase field here. So thank you again. I'm Naomi Redmond, joined by Isaiah Massak-Kelly, and we will see you in half an hour.